Will Selva at Will Selva TV. Good Morning Football and NFL Network. Will, how in the world are you, man? Thanks for checking out our show here in Nashville, Tennessee.
Absolutely. Mickey, Blaine, glad to be on with you. Why did it take so long, fellas?
I blame our producer, Lucas.
Yeah.
Anytime.
He's the youngest guy, so we always the youngin gets the blame, man. So we blame it on him, man.
Okay.
Appreciate you coming on, though.
I have a question for you. I want you to clear something up, and you tell me if I'm crazy or not. But
crazy.
But I watch Good Morning Football. It's fantastic. Love all of you guys who are part of that show and all your contributions on NFL Network. Fantastic stuff. Did you or did you not say on Good Morning Football one morning that you were in the movie Bring It On, or did I imagine that?
You actually imagined that.
Okay.
Yeah, he's known to do that.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Now, listen, I did have a cameo on American Crime Stories Impeachment, where I played, wait for it, a news anchor. So I really
I could have sworn that was a discussion one morning, so it's all on me. I imagined it.
No, that's all right. So this interview's over, guys. Great being on with you guys. Take care. Have a good one, all right?
That was not why we had you on.
Noted anchor.
That's why we have IMDb, guys. That's why we have IMDb.
I know, and I looked on there and it didn't show, so I thought maybe it was like a walk-on or something. You know, you weren't fully credited like you should have been. Will Selva, our guest from the NFL Network. So how about this story? Bengals win 2 games, and then they win 4 games, and then they go to the Super Bowl. The NFL is all about parity and everybody having a chance, but once again, the Bengals have gone out and proven that's a very real concept.
No, absolutely. I think what they did to Kansas City, especially in that second half and that defense, showed me a lot of character from those guys. The defense played terrific. On the other side, you look at the Chiefs, they look like the absolute juggernaut, right, guys, in that first half? Could do no wrong except for that last play of the half when they throw the ball sideways at Tyreek Hill, not the way that I'd want to end the half. Instead, I would elect to get points. And I think from the standpoint of the Chiefs, I think there was some arrogance, a little bit of hubris, thinking, you know what? We don't need a stinking field goal. We're going to go for it. And hand it to the Bengals. They just took it to Mahomes and the Chiefs. I mean, Mahomes was starting to get a little cute back there too, right? And he was running around the whole time and trying to make plays and force stuff. And credit to the Bengals. I mean, they kept their composure and totally shut them down in the second half, and that was the difference.
Got Will Selva on with us at Will Selva TV on Twitter. Good Morning Football, NFL Network.
Well, Will, since you were talking about Joe Burrow, I mean, like, where do you rank him? I know this is a good time. We're all about what we just saw last. Where's he ranking in the NFL as far as, is he a top 5 quarterback?
He's creeping up there. He really is, because what he's showing me that Joey Jackpot, whatever you want to call him, the guy comes through. I mean, even against the Titans, when he was running for his life and getting sacked 9 times, the guy just finds a way to win. And that is what the Bengals had said to our insiders at NFL Network, and that is the guy has an it factor to him. He's got the charisma. He's got the swag. He's a guy that's there. He's not afraid to dance, smoke his stogies, do his thing. And that's a big deal when you're trying to lead these guys. We're grown men now. And he has zero sense of nerves at all. He's out there. He's calm. He's collected. So he's creeping up there. I mean, the more that he wins, guys, his star goes even higher than what it is. I mean, if you look at that tier of quarterbacks was put in there, I don't know. You guys could put in there Ryan Tannehill if you want, Derek Carr. Do you put Garoppolo in there? Whatever you put those guys in a different tier. I mean, I think Burrow is above that. I think Burrow and Herbert are above that tier. And that's the great thing about the NFL right now is like we're seeing this new generation of young guns coming in and really making an impact. And he's leading the way.
Well, with Will Selva of the NFL Network and sticking with quarterbacks and great quarterbacks, are you going to break some news here? Is Tom Brady really retiring? What's going on here?
All right, so this thing has gotten really messy, right?
Yes.
And I feel like the reporters, the news gatherers who got this out there, obviously they got it from somebody in Tom Brady's circle, and I feel whoever leaked it out has to be like Marty Bird of Ozark, and they have to kind of explain themselves out of this. I mean, it's like, Marty, we need to take care of this right now. Yeah, well, great, Tom. Yeah, I think we can kind of do that, Tom. Maybe I'll take care of that tomorrow. So I think I think that right now he is still planning to retire. I think that's the case. I think there is the confusion over him wanting to get the message out there. And I think he's a guy who's very controlled, who always controls his own message. Even the TB12 Twitter account had tweeted out a retirement tweet, right? So that's why it's out there. I think he wanted to control it. I know for his ESPN Plus streaming show that he has, Man in the Arena, that latest episode still hasn't come out. Maybe he's waiting on that, because this just seems like something where he wouldn't want to upstage the NFL in these games. It just doesn't sound like him, but obviously the news got out there before he wanted it to. I mean, remember some years back, A-Rod during the World Series, between the Red Sox and the Rockies, the news comes out about him, how he's opting out, right? And so everybody says that's typical A-Rod. This is not typical Tom Brady. I mean, he's planning to do it. It's just a matter of when he's planning to do it. I mean, Blaine, I don't know if that answers your question. Yeah. I know you check my IMDb, so that's the best that I can give you.
I appreciate that, man. Thanks, Will Selva of the NFL Network. One more sticking with the quarterback, and that is, Ryan Tannehill had a bad game, naturally, and throwing the 3 picks, and everybody's trying to move on from him. But what is your perception of Ryan Tannehill in that? Is he capable to take this team to the next level and get them to a Super Bowl, do you think?
Looking at that game, it just didn't give me the confidence there where you say, can he actually put this team on his back and take them to the next level? Because he had everything going for him. The top seed, had the home field, had the top running back, had the 2 wide receivers and Julio Jones, A.J. Brown healthy. He had a defense that was absolutely eating, and still they weren't able to do it. Throwing that pick to start their offensive drive is not good. I also think the red zone interceptions that he has thrown also concerns me, and I wonder if we've seen what he's capable of. Now, when I think back in 2019, where he led that marvelous run through the playoffs, yeah, he had some clutch throws, but remember, he also had Derrick Henry, and they were running with King Henry the whole time. And it was a great story, comeback player. We saw that he was much different than the player that was in Adam Gase's system in Miami. I just don't know if he's that guy. It feels like a little bit like how Jimmy Garoppolo is in San Francisco, where he's good, but is he great enough where you have faith that he's going to drive down the field and take you there? And I waver on him. I don't think that they're going to move from Ryan. I mean, I know he's got 2 more years, and if they even tried to trade him, somebody would have to take his contract. I also know that if that was the case, I mean, it would be a huge cap hit if they somehow, unloaded him. So I don't know. He had all the perfect conditions for him, and it didn't work out. So my confidence level, Blaine's a little low on Ryan Tannehill at this point.
Well, with Will Selva of the NFL Network.
Well, what do you think happens with a couple other guys? I know we've talked a lot of quarterbacks, but what's the future for Aaron Rodgers? What do you think is the future for Russell Wilson?
Well, I think for Aaron Rodgers, starting with him right now, one of the positive signs, if you will, for Green Bay is the fact that he actually stayed behind for a few days and he was talking with LaFleur, and they were game planning, looking ahead, and that's actually a positive season. That doesn't necessarily, or a positive sign, rather. Now, that being said, that's not a guarantee that he's going to stay in Green Bay. I think he's going to take some time, and I think he is going to decide what he's going to do. I think he wants to keep playing, but also Green Bay has been the victim of the same thing. It's like they don't do enough to surround him with players and playmakers to help him out. And the special teams unit was awful. And we saw that on display against the 49ers. So how many times can you deal with this in Green Bay? So he's still a TBD. I think Russell Wilson's still also a TBD at this point in time. I know that Pete Carroll had said, and he came out when the season was over saying, hey, Russell's our guy. There's no reason to think that he won't be here. So, but something has to change there as well in that dynamics. It's either Pete Carroll or Russell Wilson. So haven't gotten any indication yet as to him being on the move. So that's him and Rodgers are the two ones to look for, because the way that Aaron Rodgers was also talking at the end of the season, it sure felt like he was kind of giving a farewell to arms. But if him staying behind is a positive sign, maybe that means he's going to stay there. We'll see. So those are two right now situations that we'll have to see how they play out.
Meanwhile, in Jacksonville, the Titans division mate, each day we just sort of look at the headlines down there, and we know the guys that cover them and think, what in the world is going to catch on fire next down there?
Well, I mean, who knows? I mean, they are interviewing Rich Bisaccia today. So I don't know what they're exactly looking for. I think that they are really in love or liking Kevin O'Connell, who's the Rams offensive coordinator. I know he's also on the radar for the Vikings. Byron Leftwich seemed to be the guy that had the inside track. The guy was a former quarterback for them. He proved himself as an OC and calling plays. But it sounds like right now Kevin O'Connell has the inside track. So that would mean the Jaguars would have to wait even longer. So they get rid of Urban Meyer, and now they're waiting even longer. And so it just seems like right now the arrow is trending up for Kevin O'Connell there in Jacksonville. We'll see if that's what actually comes to fruition. But Kevin O'Connell's also in the mix for the Vikings job, which is also interesting because they're interviewing DeMeco Ryans. They're also having interest in Raheem Morris as well. And then there was also Jim Harbaugh being thrown out there as a possibility. Now, he hasn't come into the facility and hasn't had an interview, but he's a guy who wants in. And if there's a coach who can actually make the transition back and forth, it's Harbaugh, because he took the 49ers to a Super Bowl. And he had a good defense, he had a good running back, but his problem was they didn't get along with Trent Baalke, who, oh, by the way, happens to be the GM down in Jacksonville. So there's still 5 vacancies, guys, which is amazing to think that still have yet to be filled. And it wasn't until Nathaniel Hackett last Thursday being hired where things started to finally thaw. 'Cause we were looking at 2.5 weeks and nothing was happening. Nothing. So it seems like more things are taking place, but Jacksonville's still not 100% sure what the end game is there.
Yeah, I'm not sure anybody, even Shad Khan, knows that. Will Selva, our guest here from NFL Network on Blaine and Mickey.
Well, naturally, we know the Rams and the Bengals in the Super Bowl, but does your perception change of Matthew Stafford and even OBJ, whether they win or lose this game, on how they're perceived in their careers and their legacy?
I think so. I mean, listen, if you watched the end of that game, you saw Deebo Samuel was just inconsolable. I mean, the man was beaten down, crying, upset. And who's the one that goes over there to console him? None other than OBJ. And from everything that I have heard, he has been nothing but a model citizen there, and McVay has said so himself, that he's a guy that's brought swag and charisma. And there's some personalities in that locker room with Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, Von Miller, and he's fit in well. And we have heard nary a peep from him in terms of being on a boat when he shouldn't be and all those sorts of things. I mean, none of that stuff, right? And so, OBJ, I think the perception's changed on him. And I think for Matthew Stafford, I think has definitely changed for him. I mean, he was in Detroit. We know about his playoff postseason record. Wasn't very good. And he's shown that he's been able to beat Tom Brady and the Bucks, and that's huge. I think the one concern that I have for him is he's got that Brett Favre in him, that gunslinger, where he's making those throws. I mean, remember last night he threw that ball that should have been intercepted by Jaquiski Tartt, but wasn't.
Yeah.
And so I think that is the one thing that would always concern me if I was a Rams fan and playing against the Bengals. I mean, the Bengals, we were talking about it before. I think it was after Mickey had slammed me, I think, on my Hollywood prowess. But either way, no, just kidding, Mickey. I'm sorry. I love you. But either way, I think those guys did change their perceptions of themselves. I do, and I think they're right now they're the favorites, and for good reason with those guys.